I Show Speed or Niko Schultz
Oh, and 100?
in a 100-meter.
Oh, dang. That would be close. I'm not even going to lie to you.
So earlier, we were walking in, and I was setting all this up, and we were introducing each other, and you go, "You're from Illinois, right?" And I
Yes,
go,
sir.
"Yeah, I am," and because you probably saw the 630.
630.
And I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to do this. So I did my research. You're from Plainfield South High School.
Plainfield South.
From obviously Plainfield, Illinois.
Uh-huh.
I want to see your reaction with this.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this track uniform before or track shirt?
Oswego East?
Mm-hmm.
This dude's from Oswego East. What? What year did you graduate?
2019.
Seriously,
So,
the last class before COVID.
Mm-hmm. So long story
Insane.
short.
So you were running yourself. Show the camera here. This is elite right here.
So that's my first high school.
First high school.
So long story short, I'm from Illinois. I'm from
Yeah.
Aurora, Oswego.
Okay.
And I moved to Nebraska June of 2017, and then I graduated from
Really?
Elkhorn High. But I went to Oswego East freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
Ran track, played football there, and I did my research on you, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I was like 15, 20 minutes away. And for those listening, think of Lincoln and Waverly. It's like
Yeah.
that. Would you say?
Yeah, 100%.
So just a small world.
It's a full circle moment right here then, because we're literally from basically the same hometown, 20 minutes apart of that.
So we're going to be talking about Illinois a little bit. But first off, for those listening to 402 on out, thank you guys for joining me. My name is Connor Wiesman, and with me today is track star Niko Schultz.
Hey, man, nice to meet you. Thank you for being on the podcast. And to all the listeners out there, you're in for a good one, man. Stay tuned.
So to start off, I shared with you how far we were before I moved to Nebraska, but
Yes, sir.
I just want to get to know, before we talk about track and running,
Yeah.
I want to get to know your life before all that. So can we talk about kind of like your childhood, your coming to age story of like growing up in Illinois, what that was like?
Yeah, no, 100%. So, nice to meet you guys. My name's Niko Schultz, obviously track actor here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. From Illinois, Plainfield, Illinois, Joliet, Illinois, kind of the same thing. But no, growing up, I've been an Illinois kid my entire life, Midwest kid. So this -10, -5 degree weather we had recently, I'm pretty used to it at this point. It really is like, going from like a town over from Illinois to Lincoln, Nebraska. It really wasn't that big of a culture shock or anything like that. But for me growing up, I have one little brother. His name's Ivan. Shout out to him. I'm 5 years older than him. Mom and dad had me super, super young. I think he was 19. She was 18 back in like 2002, December 28th. And then from then on, my dad went to work right away, right out of high school. He didn't go to college. And then mom stayed at home with me up until she had my little brother. And then she went back to school, started to be a MRI technician and a radiologist and things like that. And so my entire life, I feel like my morals and everything like that was built off of just like hard work, dedication. My dad, my entire life, for as long as I can remember, has always been in the gym working out. And so, seeing him, go to work every single day, provide for us, and then still come home and then work on himself and his fitness and things like that. And just seeing how disciplined he was throughout his time, throughout all the good and bad moments, was really inspiring for me as a kid. Even before sports, it's just something you kind of always notice as a kid. And my parents, they've done everything they do. They've done everything in order to provide for me and my little brother too. They're still together after all this time. They made all the right choices. Every single decision they've ever made has been for us. And so just being able to be in like in a household like that growing up, where you have, two loving parents, a little brother that supports you, and then the family members around us have always been supportive. It was only a matter of time before, once I began sports, like I had this big circle and community of people around me who were there supporting me. And then even for my friends, like every single time I bring a friend over, they're like, yo, like I love your little brother. I love your parents. Like they're so cool. Like being surrounded by positive people your entire life, like it makes things so much easier. It makes the process just like so much better to go into sports or really whatever kind of career I go into. Like no matter what I do, I feel like they're always like super supportive. And then if I don't, obviously end up being successful in a certain thing, they'll still be on my team. And so just knowing that at the end of the day, it's awesome. And then, that's kind of like, my come up. So.
What's the biggest similarity you see with your parents and you?
Our biggest similarity, that's a good question. Let me think. Definitely from my dad's side, I definitely think for like the fire and like the passion and things like that. Like the best way I can describe it, I don't know, the first person that comes to mind is like Kobe Bryant or something like that, right? Like think about like Kobe, the person that he saw growing up and inspiring him was like Michael Jordan, right? And so like in this case, I view my dad, like everybody views their dad as like this great guy, but like for me, same thing was like my dad was like, you know, the Michael Jordan in my life, like looking at him and seeing all the sports that he's done. Growing up, he was a basketball player actually, and so I tried basketball growing up, and I was terrible, bro. I sucked at basketball. I was absolutely trash, and he did baseball too. Terrible at baseball. And then I tried football, and I was really good at that. And then track was, you know, obviously the sport that, you know, made me take off. But yeah, definitely for him, just like that motivation to get after it every single day, you know, waking up early, staying out late, working out. And then for my mom, definitely the more like the charismatic side, the caring side, being able to have that like relatability factor and talking to a lot of different people from all different parts of the world. I definitely get that from her. So yeah, I think that's the two similarities I have between the both.
So did you always live in Plainfield?
Yeah, my entire life. I think I grew up. Yeah, I definitely lived in Plainfield my entire life. Like, there's like Jewel Osco by us, where apparently we used to live like when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and then we moved right next to Plainfield South. So I've always been a Plainfield kid my entire life. So yeah, great town, honestly. For all my people from Plainfield out there, man, shout out to them. Shout out to the Oswego East people as well.
So you're Puerto Rican, right?
Yes, sir, Puerto Rican.
So what's that family culture like growing up with that?
Oh man, it's chaotic. I'm not gonna lie. It's like the best way I can describe Puerto Rican is this is my dad told me. He's like, you know, dating or marrying a Puerto Rican woman is like they absolutely love you, and then other times they absolutely want to kill you. Like there's no like in between. Like it's so hot and cold. But I mean, growing up, culture for me was like a really really big thing. And you know, my mom is Puerto Rican, obviously, right? And so like I've been around her family my entire life. Both my grandparents were from the island growing up, and then my mom was born there and then moved to Chicago when she was about like 9 or 10 years old. And so, like I said, culture is just a really, really big part, which is funny because obviously she speaks Spanish and my grandparents speak Spanish, and I now speak Spanish. But growing up, my mom never taught me how to speak Spanish or anything like that. Like I've always been around the language, but I've never actually like fully understood what they're saying until as of recently when I took the time to learn it myself. But I mean, like culture-wise, man, whether it's the food, whether it's the camaraderie, whether it's just them being super overly supportive at like the competitions and things like that too. I mean, being a Boricua, I mean, like there's definitely like a sense of family, even if it isn't your family. Like if you were to walk into a restaurant and then you see another person who's like Puerto Rican, you kind of feel like you're already like bonded with that person. Like that's how kind of strong like the bloodline runs in a way. So yeah, it's an awesome thing to be, honestly. Shout out to all the Puerto Ricans out there.
So you talked about how you looked up to your dad as like what a son would do usually while growing up.
100%.
Was there any role models or celebrities that you looked up to as well growing up?
Snap. I think the first ever like role model celebrity I ever looked up to either was Odell Beckham or Stephen Curry. It was like kind of around the same time period, like 2015, 16. But like that's what actually got me into sports. Like the reason I wanted to do basketball, obviously my dad used to do it, but like I saw Stephen Curry and I was like, yo, like this dude's insane. So I used to just be that kid in the basketball games just chucking up like these completely ridiculous shots just because I was trying to be like him. Or like football, for example, with Odell, like I would always go for the one hands, even though like I'd probably mess up a lot and I get in trouble with my coach. He's like, catch the ball with two hands. But I mean, those definitely were my two growing up. And like honestly, I didn't really idolize anybody in track and field. I don't think I probably idolized anybody in track and field when it comes to like professionals and things like that. It's always been football or basketball. So I really haven't found that person that like I've always looked up to. But like content creation wise, the top of my head I can think of is like Nick Simmons. Nick Simmons back in the day was like an 800-meter runner. He placed in like the 2012 Olympics. He was like 5th or 6th, and that was like the fastest race of all time. And then now he has a YouTube channel with over like 1 million subscribers. And so that's obviously my goal, to try to get up to that type of level. But yeah, like that type of motivation, like Nick Simmons for sure in the track and field world.
Was being a college athlete ever in the picture for you growing up?
Yes, but not in the same way that it is now. Like I've always wanted to be a football player growing up. So I always thought I saw the 2012 or 13 Ohio State game when they won the national championship, obviously before this year. And so I saw them win there with like Urban Meyer and like Braxton Miller and all these like big names from back in the day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to try to be a part of this football team. And when I was going through the college application process, even after I gave up my football dreams and I was pursuing track full time, Ohio State was like the only school that like declined my application when it came to like all the Big Ten schools. I applied to almost like every single Big Ten school, SEC school, and I got accepted everywhere except for like Ohio State, which is crazy because I had all the gear. Growing up, I've always wanted to go to Ohio State, and then I tried to be a football player, and then obviously the dreams changed, and I tried to be a track athlete there, and they still didn't try to accept me or anything like that. I reached out, I filled out all the recruitment forms, and they never got back to me, which hurt because like I was like, dang, like Ohio State, like that was my school, you know, like that's why I always wanted to be a Buckeye. But then, now it's like, okay, like, I ended up in a very similar school. You can obviously see the red here and things like that too. And we race them very frequently. And so I always make it like a point to never lose to like another Ohio State athlete in the 800 because there's like that personal rivalry in a sense.
Before I transition to like your high school track career, I got 2 big questions to ask you.
Let's hear it.
Portillo's or Runza?
Oh, Portillo's, 1,000%. I'm sorry to all like Nebraskans out there who love Runza and things like that, but Portillo's is so superior when it comes to that. Like I get like the culture behind it, but like because you got to go to Portillo's, you got to try the Italian beef, and then really anything from there too, man. Like the cake's really good, the milkshakes, the fries are amazing. Dang, just talking about it makes me hungry. But no, Portillo's is so superior. I'm sorry for any of my Nebraska fans listening to this, but Portillo's, any Midwest person can understand that Portillo's is 100% better.
I guess we should clarify. Do you still like Runza?
Nah, not really. To be honest. I only tried it because when I got here, all my Nebraska friends were telling me like, "Oh, you got to try Runza. It's like the thing out here." And like, I mean, it's one of those things where I tried it once, and it's like I can say I tried it, but I'm not gonna go there as frequently as I go to Portillo's. Like whenever I go back to Illinois, the first thing I'm doing is going to Portillo's. And so I don't know, maybe there's like Nebraska people out there who feel the same way about Runza, but I mean, Portillo's does it right. Like there's a certain like vibe you get when you walk into the restaurant too. Like it's so unique. You got to try Portillo's. You have to.
I don't know if you're a big baseball guy, but Chicago Cubs or Chicago White Sox?
I was the White Sox growing up, and I don't really care too much about baseball, to be quite honest. I only did it because my parents told me to do it, and they were White Sox fans growing up, and I heard they told me that I can't do both, and so you see the Cubs or Sox, and so I go with Sox because I just like the honesty, the uniforms better, and like the hats and things like that.
You touched earlier how you want to be a star or a college football player, and then that changed to a college track runner.
100%.
So let's start there. So how did you even get interested in running?
Oof. Yeah, honestly, the only reason I got interested in running was because so I finished up like my middle school football career. I was playing basketball at the same time too. So I mean, kind of like the normal like like 11 to like 15-year-old time frame for like any kids out there is like you're trying a bunch of different sports. You're trying to fit in, trying to find your group, just get into like a routine and figure out what you want to do in the future. What are you going to be good at? And obviously, my parents were starting to think about college when I was like 14, 15. Like, all right, you got to start gearing up. Like, what sport do you want to play? Do you even want to go to college? And so I guess I really didn't get into track until high school, and that was just because like I only did it to stay in shape for football. Like I'm pretty sure I messed around in track for like 7th and 8th grade, and my PR was like 219 or something like that. And I only did it just because obviously football was like number one, and then track was secondary. And then once I got to high school, the football coach was like, "Hey, like you should try track, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll mess around in it." I did track, and then like I ended up breaking a bunch of records my freshman year, which I did not expect to do at all. I kind of just, as I mentioned before, like it literally was just kind of like a pastime activity. It was something that I got to go be a part of a team. I got the uniform, and I was like, if I'll do it, I'll do it. Like, might as well just try. And then I ended up beating all these records and beating like seniors as a freshman. And like I was like, yo, like I can probably take this thing to the next level. But there was always this question mark around my name, like if I didn't play football, how good of a track athlete could I have been? And so I didn't get to really put that to the test until like my senior year, until like COVID hit. But the only reason I really did track in high school was just because of football. So if I didn't play football, like who knows what I would have done. But yeah, that's how I got into the running game.
So the Chicago Sun-Times, I believe, wrote a story on you of how I couldn't read the whole thing because I needed to be subscribed to it, but I might have understood it wrong. Did you partake in cross country and football at the same time, your junior, senior year?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did the research on this, man. Shout out to you. This is a good podcast right here. But so basically at that time period, so in 2020, like February, I'm running track indoor season. It's my junior year. And I ran like 2 big races in the 800. I ran like 157, 156, and I had a bunch of colleges looking at me. And then bam, COVID hit in that March time period. And so they canceled my entire track season. And then, September of that year, of that 2020, COVID era, whatever you want to call it, they canceled football just in the state of Illinois. There was still football in like Ohio, Michigan, all these Midwest places except for Illinois. And so they canceled it. And so I was super upset about that. And my track coach at the time, who also was the cross country coach, told me, "Listen, Niko, you're gonna you have 1 or 2 choices here. You can either mope around and just be upset that it's not a football season," because I was the quarterback at the time, so I was super upset. He's like, "Or you can join cross country and then get into really good shape for your track season." And I was like, snap, like, you're right. Like, I could really get a head start and join this cross-country team and try my best and then use that fitness that I'll build for my cross-country season and carry that over into the track season. And so I did it. I signed up for cross-country and then football. I technically didn't really even quit football yet. I eventually did, but, like, it was just to fill that time period during that fall time because there was nothing to do. And so I did cross-country, and I ended up loving it. I made state. It was awesome. And then while I was doing that, that was when the Chicago Times people came. They drove all the way down, took a bunch of pictures of me, and then, like, this football quarterback star quits football and then joins the cross country team. So they kind of like clickbaited it in a sense, which is why you probably thought that. But yeah, that's what happened during that time period.
What was it quitting football? How did that feel for you?
Oh man, it was crazy, dude. Like I'm telling you, like growing up my entire life, like I always wanted to be a football player, dude. But then, I finished cross country, and then I run a few races in track and field during that winter time period, and I just end up having like the craziest races of my entire life. I'm feeling great. I'm running faster than ever before, and then I earned a scholarship to the University of Nebraska after I have some really good races. And then once I got my scholarship locked in, like I'm talking to my parents, I'm like, dang, like I don't even need to do football no more. Like, why even take the risk? Because football did come back, but instead of being during that cross country time period, it came back during the track season. And so literally during the track season, they're like, football is going on, but they did some stupid rule where you can only do 6 games. You're only allowed to practice for this amount of time period. There was like no contact for a little bit because like the spreading rules. It was really dumb. And so like I thought to myself, like, why even do this if I can't even play the full 12 games or whatever it was, and I can't even like really enjoy my season, and like I don't want to sacrifice getting hurt and then them pulling my scholarship or anything like that. So I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. And so I just kind of had to hang up the jersey and be like, listen, I'm done. And so I never even got to fulfill my senior year of football, which honestly sucked. I was really looking forward to that senior year, but I honestly think if COVID never happened, like I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would have never gotten the scholarship to the University of Nebraska. My times would have never been as fast as they were. And so honestly, it was genuinely a blessing in disguise to be able to just focus on track full time and quit football, honestly.
How big of a state of Illinois is? Or no, let me reword that. I apologize.
No, 100%, you're good.
How good of a state of Illinois is in like the track world? Like, is it like a really is it like a super fast state compared to all the other 49 states?
It's getting there, but honestly, I mean, Texas, Florida, and Cali are still superior. And Georgia, I mean, I can name like 6 states that probably come before Illinois. And listen, like I'd love to be biased and say that Illinois produces some of the fastest track athletes, which you do. I mean, Brandon Battle, I mean, that dude ran almost the Illinois state record. Kamari Montgomery, Marcellus Moore, who's a pro now. I mean, there's so many good track people that came out of the state of Illinois. But I mean, when it comes to like overall, like year in, year out athletes, it's always Texas, it's always Florida. Like there's Cali, like as I mentioned before, like we're a powerhouse, but like it's a different level what they're doing down there. Like when I grow up and like eventually have children one day, like I think I'm probably gonna take them down there just to have that competition, because so many good athletes are produced in there. Not even just in the sport of track, like all sports.
Who was the fastest opponent you ran in track?
Fastest opponent.
I like how you brought up Marcellus Moore.
Yeah, Marcel. I now that I think about him, I've never had the chance to race him one-on-one. Marcellus was insane. I mean, that dude was a phenom. He was a year older than me. And he was around a year time period. Now that I think about it, like he was probably a freshman.
He was a grade below me. He was class of 2020, I believe.
Okay, he was 2020, right? And so, have you got to see him run like in middle school and high school and things like that?
High school, yeah.
High school, yeah.
Because he ran at Plainfield North.
Plainfield North. And so, like, whenever you would watch him run, bro, everybody in the stands would stop what they're doing is watch this dude. Like, it was like something out of this world. And so, like, he would run, and like everybody would just like be in complete awe and shock of the things he used to do. Like, I remember his sophomore year at state. Like this dude broke like the state record in the 100 and then the 4x1, and like he was on a generational run. Like it was honestly insane. Like seeing another athlete like that, like I never even got to race him, but just watching him was just like jaw dropping. I always knew like I wanted to try to get to that type of level, and just seeing him was super inspiring. But no, let me think back to that question. Fastest guy I've ever ran against?
High school.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be Brandon Battle, and like I want to find a guy in the 8 who like really was like crazy good. Like I guess I can name Daniel Watke, who eventually became super good and became like a 148, 147 guy. But like at the time he was still only like a 152 guy, 153 guy. But yeah, no, Brandon Battle, he was running 46s, got a scholarship to the University of Arkansas, almost broke the Illinois state record in the 400. I mean, this dude like almost beat me by like 100 meters. It was ridiculous. Like he was on a whole different planet when we were racing each other, honestly. So I got to say him, but special shout out to those names I mentioned before.
What was the hardest high school you ever ran against? Like, which high school always produced the fastest top runners?
Snap. That's a good question. Best high school? Honestly, it probably was like all around like Niko Valley. I mean, like their 4 guys were always really good. They always had produced some solid guys in the 8. They have a coach down there who's been there for a very, very long time. Shout out to him, and shout out to my high school coach too, because I mean, like Plainfield South, probably like, we're no slouch either. I mean, we're known for having amazing track athletes ourselves, but I mean, other athletes. I mean, I feel like every single time we race Niko Valley, there's always some really good guys. Minooka would have some really good schools, really good teams as well. Trying to think of some other ones too. I mean, Edwardsville, they would always have a guy in the mile or the 4, some crazy sprinter. year in, year out. But yeah, probably Niko Valley was probably our biggest rival. Now that I think about it.
I guess we should have clarified this in the beginning. So
Yeah.
you're a mid-distance sprinter.
Yeah, you can consider that middle distance runner, sprinter. So yeah,
So
middle distance
those
athlete.
listening, that consists of the 400 meter and the 800 meter. But in
Yes,
high
sir.
school, I want to bring this up. The 600 meter, you broke the Illinois state record 600 meter with the minute 19.86 seconds.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
in other words, 1 minute, 19 seconds, and 86 milliseconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got it right.
So what was breaking that record like?
I'm gonna break this down for you. So like, that was my first ever 600 ever in my entire life. Like I've never trained for that. I've never ran it before, and it's crazy how it even came about. So I talked about I joined cross country. I finished that. So let's say cross country ended in like early November, like November 2nd, November 3rd, and so from November all the way up until February 20th. Actually, it was 3 days ago. 5 years ago, 3 days ago. And so I had like let's call it like 4 months to really try to get into really, really good shape. And so I have no scholarship. I'm doing online school. Football season's canceled, and I'm just confused. I'm like, man, like I don't want to be in Illinois my entire life. Like I'm working some like deadbeat job, pushing carts at Walmart. I'm hating it. I'm like, dude, this is just terrible. Every single day I come home from work, my mom's telling me like, what are you gonna do with your life? Who do you want to be? Like, are you just gonna work at Walmart your entire life? Like seriously, like you gotta find a job. Like blah blah blah. And so I was just honestly just tired of it. Like I was tired of just being stuck in Illinois, and like I mentioned before, like being in the crowd watching Marcellus run and like perform, and seeing like all the people react to him running and like go crazy over the way that like he was able to do something nobody else was able to do. And like I genuinely hated being in the stands and like being a spectator to that, because I knew that like internally I was always destined for more than just being a spectator out there watching. And like, dude, like I want to be on that stage. Like I want to be able to do the same stuff that he does, but in my own way. And so like, seriously, like every other morning I would wake up at like 5 a.m. and do some type of workout, whether it's going out into the cold and running like 4 miles, or going down into the basement and doing like 100 abs or 100 squats or sprints or weightlifting. Like I was just doing something to get ahead of the competition. And then I started working with an AAU coach, the head coach of the Aurora Flyers by the name of Coach Boatwright. I would do sprint training with him every other day too. I would I hit him up for workouts, meet him in some sort of facility, do workouts. And then my high school coach was giving me distance workouts to do when I wasn't doing the sprint workouts. And so I had this like formula, and all these different people helping me get to where I want to get to. And I had 2 athletes at the time too, Brian and Gabe King. We were meeting at the track, the outdoor track in Illinois, and just like doing sprints together, doing these workouts together. And even if they couldn't keep up with me, like I would set them up in different parts of the track, and we would race because I'd be faster than them. And so they didn't feel like doing like the 800 repeats that I had to do. So like it'd be 400. One guy would do 400, and the other guy would do 400 just to keep up. And so like eventually, dude, all those workouts just stacked up, and my coach signed me up for the 600. He's like, hey man, I got you signed up for the 600. Let's just give it a shot, see how you do. I'm like, all right, whatever, let's just give it a shot. And so I go and do this 600, dude, and I freaking race like one of the fastest guys of all time. And like, I think it was he now goes to Georgetown, but I think he was from Boston. And so he flies in, this whole team, and like everyone's like in my ears thinking like, oh, you're racing this crazy dude from Boston. I'm like, forget the dude from Boston, man. Like I got to show them who I am. And so I go out there, I beat the dude from Boston. And like not even 2 seconds after that race, man, I pick up my phone, and I'm just getting spammed from college coaches, bro. And like everyone's like, yo, like, do you want to come to this university? And all my friends from high school are hitting me up like, yo, like I just saw that race. You're a dog, bro, insane. So that's the story of the 600, man. It's crazy how it came about because I never ran it before. First time.
That event put you on the map for colleges to reach out to you.
100%. My 800 wasn't good enough. My 400 wasn't good enough, but that 600, yeah.
It's funny how you brought up Coach Boatwright. We'll talk more about that after the podcast.
Yeah. Flyers, man.
So I want to go on with your accolades. You are a 3-time state qualifier, a sectional champion, a conference champion, and I found out that you were ranked 14th in the nation in the 800 meter. But it says you ran a sub 2, which is insane, 1 minute and 56 seconds.
Yeah.
And then also on the same website, I don't know if I think it might have been Max Preps or Mile Split, one of those two. They had you ranked 34th in the 400 meter. You ran a 49.12.
Yeah.
So a sub 2 and a sub 50, those are phenomenal times, by the way.
I appreciate it, man. We'll take it.
So fast forward to college.
Yeah.
Why Nebraska?
Dang, honestly, bro, it was just to get as far away from Illinois as possible. I mean, I had offers to Penn State. I had offers to Iowa, Illinois. And, like, they're all great universities and all, but, like, financially, Nebraska was the biggest scholarship, money-wise. And then all the other schools were relatively close to Illinois, too. And so I genuinely wanted to get as far away as possible from Illinois. I wanted to build a name for myself. I wanted to just be recognized for like who I am as a person. You know, my entire life, like I had friends helping me out, I had family helping me out, but I wanted to just come out here and make a name for myself in my own way, be my own person, and kind of trailblaze in a way to be like, you know, my entire family, my entire bloodlines from Illinois, they stayed here, but nobody's really ever left. And so I wanted to be the first guy to go out there, leave, and just kind of build a legacy for myself and just get in my own way.
What was your first impression of Nebraska after your visit?
Snap. I didn't even visit, to be honest with you. It was because it was during the COVID time period. And so visits were like banned because like the virus and things like that. So I had to take a virtual visit, bro. I'm clicking buttons on my computer, like traveling through the university, opened up doors. And it was the stupidest thing ever. But my visit was my first week here. And so like when I first got here, I was like in shell shock, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, like this place is amazing. Like initially, like it was just like jaw dropping because like I really never even been to a college before. Like I think I went to the University of Illinois for a track meet one time in high school, but other than that, like I never really got to know what that college lifestyle was like, that experience. And so like I'm not gonna lie, bro, I was going crazy my first week, bro. Like I was doing everything, trying everything, meeting a bunch of new people, staying out every single night. It was like it was like the best week ever. Like I could never recreate that feeling that I had that week, but it was amazing.
What's the culture like at Nebraska track and field specifically?
Yeah, Nebraska track and field. No, I mean it's definitely inviting. You know, I've had 6 different coaches since I've been here, and so like you know the teammates here are super supportive and things like that. And now that I think about it too, I mean we are known for being like a jumps university, and it's been my like ever since I've been here, it's been like my goal to try to make it more like 800U university. You know, I want other 800-meter athletes to see the athletes that come in and then the athletes that come out of this place and realize that like, yo, like I can become a great athlete coming here. And like we haven't had too many great athletes in the past, you know, 800-meter runners. And so I wanted to be that guy. Like, you know, when you think of the University of Nebraska, I want them to think of me and the guys that I train with and be like, yo, like those guys are some dogs. Like I want to be able to go there. I want to do the same thing that he did. And so I feel like within these last 3 to 4 years, like I've been able to do that and showcase that like you can be successful at university no matter where you come from or no matter who is there. Like you can do it your own way and you can be great no matter the circumstances that you're currently under.
So it's common for high school recruits to run both cross country and track in college as well.
Yeah.
But that's not you.
Heck no.
So did you get an offer to run cross country too, or was it just track and you just never even brought up cross country to run?
No, it was generally just track. I mean, like I could have done it. Like my coach is kind of, you know, throwing the idea at me too. Like, you know, next year you can do it because like I have pretty good endurance. Like throughout my time here, like I've built up like a really good base of endurance and fitness and things like that. And I can be competitive in cross country. But I mean, like for a national ranking standpoint, or just for like the things I'm able to do in the 800, it's night and day compared to if you were to throw me on that cross country course. Like it'd be kind of like robbery to throw me on that cross country course because like I can do such great things in the 8. Like if I were to be focused on the 800 year round and train for it year round, I mean there's really no point to mess around in the cross country. So I might dabble in it in a little bit next year, but I mean yeah, the offer was still good just as the 800-meter runner instead of just being like an all-around athlete. I mean it's difficult because you can get injured during cross country, and like if you're not, you know, even competitive too, it's kind of like you're spiritually downing yourself too because you're like, dang, I'm not even performing good. Like, why am I even doing this? You know, so I'm glad they didn't make me do it, to be quite honest with you.
So since you don't run cross country, what does your off season in the fall look like?
Oh, snap. Yeah. I mean, it's similar. If you really think about it, it's very similar to the cross country. I mean, I'm probably putting up like 40 miles a week. I'm doing a bunch of tempo runs, like that consists of like, you know, it's like 15 minutes at like 5 flat pace and like 10 minutes at like 4:30 pace and, you know, things like that, like difficult workouts. But I mean, they're all building fitness to get me ready for right now. Because during the track season, you do a lot more speed stuff. And so you got to make sure you build a really, really good base in the fall. And the weight room rise, I'm lifting 3 times a week in the fall and then 2 times a week during the season. And so I'm just honestly just staying on top of my stuff during the fall, building a base, building my fitness, and just overall just trying to be like a hybrid athlete coming in. And then during the season, it's kind of like breaking that down, molding the athlete into being a more speed-based runner to be able to handle the races and most importantly, handle those rounds. Like as an 800-meter runner, you got to do the prelims, you got to do the finals. Sometimes you're doing 2 events, sometimes 3. So you just got to be really, really ready for whatever the coach is going to throw at you that season.
What's your favorite event to run right now?
Favorite event to run? Honestly, dude, it's the 8. I mean, like I always have fun in the 4. And like the 4 is like a workout to me. It's really not like my best event, but I mean, it's the 8. I mean, there's the other athletes in the field too. I mean, like we're all kind of built the same. We all have the same mentality. We know that it's one of the toughest events in track. And it's just honestly a super fun race because like, it's just so different from all the other races. I mean, the mile is like pretty similar to what we do, but it's just not the same, man. I mean, there's some guys who run it in like 50 point to the first 400, and there's other guys who run it in like 56, 54. Like anybody can be good at the 8, whether you're a distance runner, a sprinter, a pure middle distance runner. Like it's just honest. I think it's one of the best events.
What do you think of while you're warming up? Do you think of someone? Do you think of something?
I don't know, man. Like it's hard to really put it into words. I mean, I really just think about executing my race. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking about the past and all the work I've put in. Other times I'm thinking about just the different athletes in the race. And then other times, like whenever I'm the most successful, I'm the most nervous. That's kind of what I've noticed within myself. Like I'll go out there, I'll be super nervous, and then I'll execute and have like the best race of my life. And then there's races where I'm overly confident, and then I'll run terrible, you know. And so like it's honestly just a game of give and take. I mean, like some days you do great, some days you do bad, but I'm honestly just thinking about success and then executing the race and just remembering all the work that I put in and that I'm experiencing, that I'm able to accomplish whatever it is I want to do.
What's the worst memory you have at running track and field at Nebraska?
Probably the other track meet, honestly. Like the other track meet, what did I do? Honestly,
What was the meet called, by the way?
Graduate Classic. It was like here, February like 17th or something like that. Oregon came down for the first time, and I was super excited. But I was coming off a really bad sickness, and so I was like sick for like 10 days over Christmas break. I didn't get to train, and so like there was like a whole punch to my training. So I like lost a lot of what I did during the fall just because of those 10 days that I was sick. And so I tried coming back way too early, and then it just got completely embarrassed out there. That was really bad. But obviously I'm back now. I'm feeling better than ever. And then a close second to that is last year indoor Big Tens. I didn't qualify for the finals, and that was like such a heartbreaking thing because we ended up losing by the 4 points that I was projected to get. And so like we would have won the indoor championship if it wasn't for me not making the final. And so that was a very tough pill to swallow. And so I'm hoping to learn from those experiences and not have them happen again, honestly.
How do you handle failure?
Handling failure, honestly, I mean, it's bittersweet. I mean, everybody wants to be successful. I mean, literally your success is based off of other people's failure. Like the only way I'm going to do good is if I beat you in a race, right? The only way I'm going to win nationals is if I beat the second place guy who wants to also win nationals, you know? And so failure is just a part of the game, man. I mean, like success wouldn't be as good if failure wasn't on the other half of that, you know? Like if I failed numerous times here at the University of Nebraska, failed numerous times in high school, middle school, I mean, like I feel like I failed so many more times than I've ever have of winning, you know? And like that's how it's kind of supposed to be. Like you're supposed to fail, so that when you win, it's like a really good feeling. It's a very fulfilling feeling because you know what it's like to be that failure, you know? But I mean, like I feel like I'm at the point now where like I'm pretty good at like losing, and that sounds funny to say, but like before, you know, I used to just mentally just get like messed up for like a very long time from losing, and like I used to just throw myself into this spiral and just like crash out in a way. But like now, like, you know, I'll fail and I'll kind of just laugh it off, and then I'll win and I'll just kind of like laugh it off. Like it's very similar. Like before it used to be super hot and super cold, but now I'm kind of like right in the middle, and I don't let myself get too high or too low. And so, like, honestly, failing, I mean, it's just like another day in the office, you know? Like, you can't really – the way I put it is, like, you can't really tell if I won or can't really tell if I lost. Like, that's kind of the way I like to go about it, the wins and losses.
What feels worse, failing yourself or failing others?
Oh, definitely others. Definitely others. Like, if I'm in a relay or something like that, like, and I let my team down, like, that's 1,000 times worse than failing myself. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, every single person's kind of like their own biggest critic, you know? I mean, like, I'm never going to get more mad at another person than I am at myself, in a way, because like I know the work that I put in, I know what I'm capable of doing, and then if I don't execute that, like that's on me. But I mean, like failing my teammates or something like that, like that's a really bad feeling, you know, like just like knowing that not only did you fail yourself, but you also failed the other guys in your relay, or maybe like you failed like your teammates because you didn't score a point. Like it's always worse failing other people than it is yourself, 1,000%.
Now let's talk about the opposite. What's the best memory you have running at Nebraska?
Oh, snap. Yeah, that's easy. Drake relays last year. I ran the 800 the day before this race, and it was easy. It was like a 148 mid, ran really good. Shout out to Hannes. He was another German athlete who I beat. He went to Arkansas State, and then he now transferred here. And like my coach made me FaceTime him in like December, like, hey, get this athlete here. And I FaceTime him. He's like, you're that guy that beat me at Drake Relays last year, right? And I'm like, yes, sir, that's me. He's like, all right, I'm gonna commit. So he committed here. So he's a cool dude. And then the next day, we're running this thing called the Sprint Medley Relay. And the Sprint Medley Relay goes 200, 200, 400, 800. And so the race goes off. I'm obviously the 800 leg, so I'm the anchor. And then the exchange between the first two guys, they dropped the baton. Like, it was ridiculous. They dropped the baton on the track. They ran into each other. One of the guys did a front flip over the other guy, and we were in last place by like 50 meters. And so the guy picks up the baton, runs, gives it to our 400 leg. Our 400 leg drops a 45-second 400, which is insane, and then gives it to me in like, let's call it like fourth place, fifth place. I go from fifth place all the way to first place, And then coming down the last home straightaway, it's me and this other guy from like DePaul University in Illinois, you know them. And so we're going like stride for stride down the straightaway, and then I'm like in my mind, I'm like, oh snap, like I don't think I'm gonna win this thing. Like I gotta dive across this line, or else this guy's gonna outlean me. And so I take 3 big steps and I lunge and I kind of tuck and roll. I hit the ground, I do a front flip, I look, and we beat him by like 0.02, all because of the dive. And I came from 5th to 1st. And I split a 146.3, which is my fastest split ever. And so like I look at the clock and I'm going crazy. I'm like, let's go. And like there's like a cool edit I made of me diving across the line and all these great pictures. But that by far is my best track memory I've had at the University of Nebraska. It was a great day.
Because the Drake relays, to my knowledge, besides the NCAA championships, Drake relay you would argue is the number 2 big track event.
Probably Big Ten's is definitely bigger than that. Big Ten's and regionals, but I mean Drake Relays is a close second. When it comes to like a regular season meet, I mean Drake Relays does it best. You know, shout out to Iowa. I mean it's a great university. It's a great track. All the people there are super nice, super friendly, and everybody there they're track and field fans. Like they're there because they love the sport or they've either competed. My dad always goes every single year and competes in the Masters 800, and so that's always a really fun thing to do is watch him go out there run like a 2:19, 2:18 in the 800, and then me the next day run like 20 seconds faster than that. So yeah, no, Drake Relays, they do it right, man. It's awesome.
I also want to clarify back to your story. You said that the first or second guy dropped a baton, right?
Yeah.
From Nebraska?
Yeah.
I thought, is that non-automatic disqualification?
So I think the automatic disqualification is if like the baton like interferes with somebody else, or like if they step on the line or like go outside of their exchange zone. But I mean, if that baton's on the track and it stays in the lane, I mean, you're technically good enough to go and pick it up and continue the race, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, the guy ran over the other guy because he didn't get out fast enough in the exchange zone, and then he dropped the baton in the exchange zone, so it's still like the baton's live. You're good to just pick it up and run. And so they both fell on the ground. Guy picked it up and just kept going. So he was good, but I mean, it just sucked because it messed our time up. Like we missed the school record by like 0.5, and so like if we didn't drop the baton, we would have destroyed that school record easily. So.
What gets more recognition, cockiness or humility?
Oh, cockiness, 1,000%. I mean, like, the only way humility is even recognized is if you're at the top of the food chain. But I mean, cockiness, you can literally not even be a good track athlete, but still get recognized. I don't know. I feel like people definitely like more respect. Obviously, is going to be the person who has the humility, the person who's confident in his ability, but doesn't, showboat or like boast it. But I mean, cockiness is always the loudest, But I mean, I think it speaks volume if somebody's able to control their emotions and in moments of huge and immense pressure. And I honestly love to have humility, like when it comes to just all my competitions, honestly. Like I don't want to be a guy out there who's just like being loud or just saying nonsense or doing nonsense and just doing things for attention. Like I want people to notice me for like my times that I put out there and just like the person that I am, the athlete that I am, I remember last year it was regionals, and I was winning the race for like 700 meters. In the last 100 meters, my body just like gave out. Like I literally walked across the finish line. I went from first to last, and the guy who won it from Iowa, he like tripped as he crossed the finish line as he won the race, and he like face planted, and all the other athletes ran past him, and I was the last one across the finish line, and then he was on the ground, he was like holding his knee, and I went up and like I helped him up and like picked him up after the race, and like mind you, like I just like sold because like that was the race to get to nationals. But I mean, the first thing I did wasn't like cross the line and like start crying or be mad or pissed or walk off the track. Like, the first thing I did was help him up and congratulate him on winning it, and then I walked off the track and obviously did what I had to do. But I mean, like I always love to be more like be a person of humility rather than a person of cockiness always.
But if you're going to be honest with yourself, would you say you're more on the cocky side or humility side for yourself?
I don't know, like maybe in my mind I got to tell myself certain stories to like get me into like a certain zone. I mean, like always, like whenever I'm writing in my journal, right, I always got to be confident. I always got to say words of encouragement, positive phrases that are going to get me and make myself believe that like, like I'm the best athlete out there. Like I'm going to be like a world champion. I'm going to be an Olympic champion, right? Like you have to tell yourself those things. But I mean, I feel like you don't have to say it to the entire world. I mean, there's people out there like take Noah Lyles, for example, right? He's the best. He knows he's the best, and he lets everybody else around him know that he's the best as well, right? And so like that's kind of his way of going about it. And then for me, I don't really go out there and do it like that, maybe like if you look at my social media videos online, you could probably take it as you see it and perceive it as like, oh, this guy's cocky. But honestly, I try to make my content more like informational and just like funny at the end of the day. Like I don't think it's really that deep. But yeah, no, honestly, like I don't really think I'm like too cocky when it comes to the sport of track and field, honestly.
What are the foods and drinks you avoid during season, if any?
Number one is like pop or soda or anything like that. Like I don't know, I just feel like really like crappy after drinking like stuff like that, and like it's definitely hard to run. Obviously alcohol. That's a no-brainer. Foods, McDonald's. Stay away from like stuff like that. Like I'll have it like maybe like once during the season. That thing bombs your stomach. Burgers, fries. I try to stay away from stuff like that, but it's hard. Like pizza, like I love pizza, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So it's definitely hard to stay away from that. But yeah, definitely like those two or those the ones that I listed are the kind of like the no-goes during the season.
Do you have anyone that like oversees what you're eating at all?
Yeah, like I got like the nutritionist here who I like meet with on like a weekly basis, and I kind of showcase them like, hey, like how's my plate looking today? Like, is there more carbs that I could be adding? Is there more vegetables that I should be eating? My protein looking good? Should I be eating this or that? Like, yeah, I consult with like a few different people that help me guide me in the right direction.
So like in the off season, do you go back to your McDonald's and pizza?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. The off season's your off season, man. I mean, you've built up. Let's say that you're on for like 10 months, right? 11 months. I mean, that 1 month where I'm off, let's call it like the month of like June, early July, like I'm doing whatever I want, to be honest with you. Like it's crazy because you get thrown off your schedule so bad. I mean, you're so used to being in a routine and then you're off and then you're stuffing your face with food. But then once you get back into the game and the routine, like, like you earned to be able to splurge like that, honestly.
And then, so we're currently in your 4th year, right?
Yeah.
But you have another year of eligibility still, correct?
Yeah, because I got hurt my freshman year.
So are you going to use it?
Planning on it. I'm planning on using it, but the future is kind of unknown to me right now. I'm not sure if it's going to be here. I'm not sure if it's going to be somewhere else. I'm not sure, what the future holds. But I mean, a lot's going to be dictated within these next few months on whether or not I stay here. A lot has to do with it, with my times, whether or not I get accepted into the master's program here at the University of Nebraska. So there's a lot of different moving pieces that I'm currently looking at. So yeah.
So if you do end up getting accepted and running your 5th year here, are you ready to be called Unc for your 5th year?
I'm already being called Unc, honestly. Like all the people in my comments, they're like, "Hey, nice job, Unc," or "Congratulations, Unc." Like I'm already used to it. So I mean, maybe they'll call me like Super Unc by then. But yeah, no, I'm used to that already, bro. The comments and the trolls, like I'm so used to it at this point. Like it doesn't even faze me.
Are there a lot of 5th and 6th year runners at Nebraska?
Yeah, there's a lot of 5th and 6th year runners everywhere, man. There's 7th years, there's 26, 27-year-olds. I mean, it's just a sport of track and field, man. I mean, you got universities recruiting dudes from overseas, bringing them in, and they're 25-year-old freshmen. I mean, like, there's nothing you can do about that, man. It's just going out there and performing to the best of your ability. I mean, the Olympic champion, and I mean, there's no age limit on that. You can be 16 or you can be 30, and you can potentially win it, So, I mean, if college is just preparing you for that. But, I mean, college, it's faster than some pro leagues at this point. I mean, there's just so many good athletes out there now. So, it's a game. It's a different game we're playing now.
So in college football, we are very familiar that the Big Ten and the SEC are arguably the best conferences in college football.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the best conference for track and field?
It probably still is the SEC, to be honest with you. I mean, if you take the amount of it's hard to say because when it comes to track events, like speed, it's always been SEC. I mean, those guys just produce like dogs. And I think a lot has to do with it because a lot of those schools are in the South or in hot climates and things like that, so they're able to train year-round outside. And it's just very hard to do in a winter time period, like here in Nebraska. Like it's hard to produce really good athletes when you have to run on treadmills, you have to go into indoor facilities. But if you're in somewhere like Texas or California, you're able to just train outside year-round. So I think SEC is going to remain dominant when it comes to the sport of track.
What would you consider the Big Ten conference for track at?
It's a close second, 1,000%. It's definitely a close second. We produce national champions every single year. We have Olympians every single year. It's still a dominant thing, but overall, SEC is just they're a powerhouse. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a different ball game. We're serious here, but they're really serious down there.
So what would you say is the best SEC track school then?
Florida. I mean, they've won the last 3 outdoors. They're 3 for 3 right now, pursuing their 4th. Or Arkansas is a close second. They're I can't remember if the girls won or not, but Arkansas has won the SEC these last 5 years. It feels like they've always been winning. So definitely those two are insane.
I like to transition to NIL/content creation.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, what notable NIL sponsors/deals have you done?
Probably the biggest one I've had so far is with Victory insoles. They're an insole company. They're you put into your shoe to help you jump higher, run faster, help your stride length, or reduce injury and things like that. And so they reached out to me when I only had 3,000 YouTube subscribers. And so they reached out. They're like, "Yo, Niko, I love your content. Would love to work with you." And so I've been making content with them for quite a while now. And so that's probably the biggest one I've had. But I mean honestly, when it comes to content creation, I think YouTube is probably my biggest NIL, in terms of that. I mean, they pay me monthly for the videos that I create and things like that. And so, Yeah, YouTube's probably like my biggest revenue source right now when it comes to content creation.
What about any local deals?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you really call it local deals. I mean, like I'm a marketer at heart or like a entrepreneur at heart. And so like I've done different deals with like barbershops here, massage parlors, little beef jerky companies and things like that, food industries. And so, but like I've worked with them kind of working as a middleman between having athletes come in and promote their stuff, giving them NIL deals or special deals and things like that, and like putting it on their social medias and helping them edit and show them how social media works. And so like I really wouldn't call that NIL, I would just call that kind of like a contractor work and things like that. But yeah, no like local companies have reached out and been like, yo, come in for an NIL deal. It's been more or less me reaching out to them and showing them my abilities as like an editor or worker and then helping them from there.
Do other track and field athletes do that as well, where they reach out to another company and say, hey, let me help you out with marketing?
No, I'm probably one of one when it comes to that. Honestly, like I do things a little bit different. Like other people on my team just get deals daily, and they have like agents who reach out to companies and things like that too. But I mean, it's a different ball game. You got to play as a male in the game of NIL and the game of track and field, just because you're not really getting as much recognition. Rather, if you're a girl in the sport of track and field, I mean, it's just kind of basic knowledge that girls are going to get more NIL deals for when they put on the uniform and things like that. And they're going to get more views on social media. And then the guys, they kind of got to do things a little bit differently. Got to work around a few different hoops to get it done. But I mean, if the quicker you recognize that, bro, the quicker that you're gonna realize that like you have potential to make it. You just gotta find your way, find your path in order to be successful in the world of content creation and NIL.
So you said that, as you just said, you're the one that's going out to these companies, while like rarely anyone else is. What makes you driven to do that?
Honestly, like my business classes here, honestly, like they taught me a lot of valuable skills to go out there and market yourself and be confident in yourself and your abilities. Another big, person that inspires me is my uncle, down in Las Vegas. Shout out to him. He's an entrepreneur. He owns 3 businesses out there. And so I've just seen the lifestyle that he lives and the things that he's able to achieve financially just because of, believing in himself, taking care of himself, and just being a businessman at the end of the day and being successful. And so just those different sources and things like that just push me to be a better entrepreneur and a better man. And so honestly, it's just second nature to go out there, introduce myself, be friendly, put on a smile, and show them what you're capable of doing and how you can take their business from here and bring it to here, just off of a few months and just off of, just a few clicks of a few buttons on social media. Like like I said, we were talking about this before, like, content creation and social media and all these influencers. I mean, it's a changed game. I mean, who knows what we're going to be in the next 5 years, but all I know is that I want to be a part of that social media surge, kind of like that boom, and just kind of be one of the big names out there when it comes to like, like innovating themselves as like a content creator, like solidifying themselves as a person that people know of in the world of social media.
Do you regret working with any companies?
Nah, I don't regret working with any companies. I think at the end of the day, experience is experience, like going out there, whether it was super successful or whether it was a super fail, I'm still taking away knowledgeable lessons that I'm going to be able to implement into different aspects of my life later on.
So I saw when I was going through your Instagram, you promoted Driven Purpose NIL.
Yes, sir. Shout out Tyrell.
And it's a faith-based clothing brand.
Yeah, 100%.
So can you talk more about that specific brand and what that is? And then I have another question, but answer that one first.
100%. So drivenpurpose.shop is a company that my buddy creates, Tyrell Pierce. He's actually an athlete here, 46'4" runner on the team. My roommate as well, one of my best friends here. Great guy. He was a transfer from a school called Knox College. It's actually in Illinois, which is like a JUCO out there, or a D3. I think it was a D3 school from Illinois. And so he transferred here last year. He was a part of every single 4x4. Great guy, great athlete. And during the summer, he told me he was just super bored in his room, and he kept on getting a bunch of drop shipping ads on his Instagram, and he had so much time to kill. He's like, I might as well figure out what this is. And so he kind of learned about the game of drop shipping and things like that, and about how to create your own brand and kind of be like work for yourself and be a business owner. And so he just thought, I'll start this business as a personal project and see how far I take it. And so, he's really dedicated to this business, and I see that. And he's been telling me like, yo, Niko, like I got this business, I got this brand. Like, do you mind about making like a few ads for me and putting it on your YouTube and your social medias? I'm like, oh, 1,000%, bro. I got you. Like, I'll put it out there for you. And so me and him were kind of working together, and then basically putting a bunch of ads up on social media. And like, he's got a decent amount of sales to my YouTube videos and things like that too. And so it's worked very well. And yeah, so like I would love to see that business take off to the moon one day and know that I was a small part of that.
Is faith a big part of your life, since that was a faith-based
faith-based organization. Yeah, I would say faith is a big part of my life. Growing up, my parents, it wasn't one of those things where they would take me to church every single day or things like that. It was kind of one of those things where we never really even talked about. But slowly through the years, I mean, it's something that I've always kind of stumbled upon myself and always questioned, like, like, where do I belong? Like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? Like, obviously I was a good athlete. Like, I've had a lot of success through my life, but I always felt like there was like something like internally that like it's bigger than just, the sport of track or just, being successful in different parts of life. I mean, like, obviously I'm a believer in God and things like that. And I've had the chance to meet a lot of great people here at the University of Nebraska who've been able to showcase to me like their faith and how their families would do things like that. And I've tried different things. Like, I've been to a Christian church, I've been to a Catholic church. I know people who follow different religions and things like that. And so like currently right now, like I wouldn't say I'm a person that goes to church every single Sunday, but I am a person who prays daily. I'm a person who believes in God. I'm a person that, like believes in a higher power, and that by doing right by God and kneeling before him is going to, bring you great things in life, and that just being an overall great person in society will yield you great things in the future. Like treat others how you want to be treated, in a sense. And so like before every single race, I'm praying. After every single good and bad performance, I'm praying and thanking God for the abilities he's given me to help other people. Like the things that I like accomplished so far, like in YouTube and everything else, like I literally give it to him just because like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't him. And so that's kind of my viewpoint on faith, Christianity, and just like, overall religion.
Thank you for sharing about that.
No, 100%.
How has NIL impacted Nebraska track and field?
Oh, snap, that's a good question. So like I feel like NIL really wasn't that big, obviously, until like they uplifted the rule. I think it was like 2021 and 2022 when they made that rule shift from, okay, athletes are finally going to be able to be named, utilize their name, image, and likeness to profit, right? And so like that was because some athletes have taken that and ran with it. I mean, in the game of recruiting, I believe that's one of the reasons that Nick Saban, shout out to him, he ended up quitting football just because like it's a different ball game now. People aren't here to play to like really because they're passionate about the sport. People are here for the money, right? Because like obviously it's, NFL, right? Not for long. That's kind of what it stands for. And so it used to be one of those things where the NFL was the game or the place to utilize your contract and make a bunch of money. And college was the heart, the passion, and the last place that you could play football without having to deal with the numbers. But now that game's completely changed. I mean, high school athletes can get paid now, right? And so it's changed everything when it came to recruiting and money and finances. But specifically for Nebraska track, I mean, we weren't even on the map until like two girls came to the university and started making TikToks, like Ashley and Jess Gardner. And they made a TikTok actually in this locker room with the girls one next door, and they were making like a bunch of funny TikToks, and then blew up on social media. And so every single track meet we would go to, it would be like, oh my God, those are the girls from TikTok, and got a bunch of NIL deals and this, that, and the third. And so that was like the pioneer group when it came to like NIL and being blown up on social media. And like we have a few girls in the team right now who are like really big on social media too, and have way more followers than me, and NIL deals and things like that. And so I don't know, like the stuff that I'm doing is more informational, as I mentioned before. Like I'm not in it for like NIL deals or things like that, because like I know at the end of the day, like as a guy, you don't really get that many NIL deals. But I just more so make it just so that like it's kind of like a brand building, is I think the words I want to say. Like when somebody thinks of the 800 or how to get faster in the 800, like I want my account to be like the first one up there. Like how do I run 150 in the 800? And I want like a Niko Schultz track video to pop up, and then they see that and click on it. Like, oh, okay, so that's how you do it. Or like that's what like a 148 800 looks like. Like that's kind of why I'm doing it. It's not really for the NIL game, honestly.
So when I think of NIL in the college track and field world, the first guy that comes up to my mind is Sam Hurley from Texas.
Oh yeah, this has like 1 million, bro. He has so many followers.
I want to ask about like what do you know about him, and what do you think about like the content and like just how he does his social media or NIL stuff?
Yeah, no, he goes about it the right way, to be honest with you. Like every single time that dude takes a picture, it doesn't even look like he's playing track, bro. He looks like a Fashion Nova model. Like, no, I promise, bro, no glaze. But I mean, bro has like 1 million, and like one of my buddies said it best. Like every single time he makes a post, like bro knows he looks good, bro. Like bro has his hair, he has like either a shirt off in his stuff, or he's doing some sort of like fashion model thing and stuff like that. Like he's playing the game to absolute perfection. I mean, I don't know, maybe like a few other like pro track athletes that have over 1 mil, like Sidney McLaughlin or Noah Lyles or something like that. But I mean, he's like maximized the game of NIL, and like I said, bro, played things to absolute perfection, and is utilizing every single second he has at the University of Texas. So, shout out to him. And no matter how his career goes and what type of success he has in the future, I mean, he's going to be set for a very long time because how he played the game of NIL here throughout his 4 years.
Is earning an NIL deal, let me rephrase that.
No, you're good.
Is earning an NIL deal harder than what people think?
Is earning an NIL deal harder than people think? Earning a good one, yeah. I mean, like you can literally get like a $50 deal and just post it, and like that's super easy. But like earning like something that's actually like livable off of, or is earning anything that's worth mentioning to other people, yeah. I mean, you definitely have to be at a certain level of status, and like if you want to get like a 4-figure NIL deal or something like that, like you got to really be up there, and you got to be very well known. Not even just the sport of track. I mean, like football players, it's probably a little bit easier. No, I know it's a lot easier just because football's a lot bigger than track and field. But for the sport of track and field, yeah, you either got to look really good or be really good. And sometimes like even being really good isn't enough. Like at the end of the day, I think NIL deal comes up more based off of looks than it does actual performance, which is crazy. But that's just kind of, it's at the end of the day, if you're a person working for a company, you think to yourself, what's more marketable? The person who broke a national record, or the person who looks like they could be a model, or the person that's like the most talked about right now, not for their performance, but the way that other people are perceiving them. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's just psychology in a way.
Are you by chance on Open Doors?
I was, but I gave up, bro. Like I honestly like, cause there's like different like things you can do on Open Doors. Like obviously, like apply for certain NIL deals. I applied for like 2, and then I just gave up. I was like, bro, like nobody's reaching out. Like I'm just gonna worry about myself and keep on making my videos and hope that companies reach out to me. Honestly, so nah, I used to be, but I'm not.
So what's the most profitable social media app that has helped you?
Yeah, I gotta say it again, man. I think it's YouTube. I think YouTube has definitely opened the doors for me, because on my YouTube, I put like my contact info, like, you know, reach out to this email if you want to like work together and things like that. And all the companies that have ever reached out to me, they've always said that like, I want to do an NIL deal with you, like, or like a deal with you through your YouTube. Like I want like a YouTube ad in one of your videos, because at the end of the day, YouTube is like the one platform people are still going in and like sitting down and actually watching through. I mean, it's not like a quick hit of dopamine like how Instagram or TikTok is, where you watch it for a few seconds and you swipe. I mean, if you're watching one of my videos, you're most likely either trying to gain knowledge from it, or you find it entertaining and you're sitting down, you're looking at it, you're either taking notes, or you're just like, you want to learn something, right? And so if I were to put like a minute ad in a 20-minute video, whether you buy it or not, you're now knowledgeable of the program. And like maybe you don't buy it this time, but like let's say like 5 months down the road, you're finally ready to buy because I ran a time that was good, or you just like one of the things I said, bam, you buy it right there. And so like that's kind of like how the game goes. I don't know.
How is the NIL market specifically in Lincoln like when you watch other athletes from Nebraska that aren't even in track and field? How has NIL affected them locally?
Honestly, I feel like it's helped in a way. I mean, you look at like Lexi Rodriguez, right, the volleyball star here. I mean, I feel like a lot of the NIL deals she does is very localized and things like that, and like she can genuinely make like a big impact. But I think if you don't have like a lot of pull here in Lincoln, like it's not gonna work very well. Like if you take like a very good football player, like if you were to take Dylan Raiola and then put him in like any restaurant in Lincoln and then have him do like a 10-second video, I mean, that for the next week, that company is gonna get spammed, I feel like. And so like I feel like it's only as good as like the athlete is in a way. Like if you have an athlete that really nobody knows in the sport, that's really not that popular, it's not gonna really hit that hard. But if you have an athlete who's really, really good and known amongst the entire NCAA, and not even just the NCAA, but the entire world, that's where like, you know, impact is gonna be made. But I mean, like I said, it's only as powerful as the athlete is, seriously.
Jeez, I had another big question about NIL. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think NIL is destroying college sports in any way?
No. I think it's just like it's making it more fun. To be quite honest with you, I mean, like it's destroying like the old traditional way that the NCAA used to go about it. Obviously, I mean, a bunch of the, as you mentioned before, the unks out there, they're saying that like, oh, like college athletes shouldn't get paid. They get a scholarship, they get a stipend, they get living expenses and things like that. Like they're already in like in a good situation. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like think about it. Like colleges have been profiting for so long off of our name and image and likeness, like the football players' name, image, and likeness, and like football players are out there risking and sacrificing their lives for other people's entertainment. Other people are selling the jerseys. The streaming networks are profiting off just streaming the games and things like that. Like there's so much untapped potential, and there's so many people out there too who want to support the other athletes financially too. And so like NIL just open up the doors to that. And yes, does it have to be moderated? 1,000%. Like I think that too much of anything is a bad thing, right? But I mean, I think it's only going to drive us further and then make it more entertaining. I mean, like how entertaining is it? You open up your phone and you see like a freshman coming in with like a $3 million Lambo deal. Like that's entertaining. Like that's crazy in a way, you know? And like it's going to get people to want to like follow athletes based upon their NIL stuff. And like, I don't know. I genuinely think it is a good thing and we're moving in the right direction when it comes to NIL.
Have you ever seen like an athlete just be taken over by just NIL content creation where that like kind of takes away their love from sports? Have you seen that firsthand?
To an extent, yeah, to a degree. I mean, there's people out there who are like really, really are getting a bunch of recognition for it, and it could get overwhelming at times. And I know people out there who like, they started a sport, they were kind of decent at it, and then they took off with NIL, and then like now that's kind of their life, and like that's how they're making money and making ends meet. And so like I wouldn't say like it over-consumed their life, but it definitely just like guided them in a direction to be more successful in another area of life, which is just content creation. They're better off financially. They're able to help people out financially just because of, where you start isn't where you finish, right? And so that's kind of like the mentality when it comes to this NIL stuff. Like maybe you came to college for track and you thought you were going to be a pro athlete, and then you left a millionaire, or left as a person who's making six figures just for posting videos on your phone. So, yeah.
Do you think there should be a cap space for NIL stuff?
Cap space? Nah. I mean, cap space, the only time I think of that is like an NBA salary cap or like an NFL salary cap. But I mean, if somebody from, New York is willing to pay somebody from Nebraska to make a few videos, I mean, like, I feel like that's an obligation, or that's a business deal between those two people. I feel like the university really shouldn't have anything to do with it, to be quite honest with you.
Have you ever done like a joint NIL like video or content thing with anyone else from Nebraska?
Not anybody from Nebraska, but I made like a reel this one time with the dude from LSU, his name's Trenton, really good content creator. He helps me with a bunch of my video ideas, and we're always shooting ideas at each other back and forth. And I was actually the person who inspired him to start at YouTube, and he's like double the subscribers that I have. He's really successful, really creative. And we've done a few collaborations, nothing big, but it's just cool butting heads with other people out there who have very similar mindsets to you and, want to achieve the same things that you want to achieve. Because at the end of the day, we both know that track and field, I mean, we're gonna hang the spikes up one day, and so just to be kind of set and like have like a direction to where you want to go in life once this thing is over, I mean, that's a really fulfilling and securing feeling.
I have a fun segment now.
Oh, snap.
I call it the 100-meter dash segment. I'm gonna give you, I believe, 8 races.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, 100-meter dash is just a straightaway. So like Usain Bolt, like that's his event.
Yeah.
So I got 8 races. I'm going to give you 2 names who I think, in my opinion, would be fun to watch and actually like, okay, this could come down to the neck.
Yeah.
So the first one being the Rizzler or Dorf Mamba.
Oh, the Rizzler, 1,000%.
Jack Doherty or Neon.
Damn, that's a good one. Definitely Neon, bro. Neon's hilarious.
Jake Paul or Conor McGregor.
Oh, Conor. That dude's an entertainer.
I would go Jake Paul with that.
Seriously? Bro, that dude Conor, he made that movie too. Was it Roadhouse or something like that?
Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But I don't know. Long story short, kind of off topic. Conor McGregor, he's known for not having the best endurance in UFC. Like if he's in round 5, you can just see him huffing and puffing, and then like most likely he will tap out.
But that dude knows how to get people into a building, though, bro. I mean, he gets people hyped.
No, he's not even. Well, again, in the same documentary, he's considered not a top 10 UFC fighter.
100%.
But the fact that he can, it's just trash talking. It's his cockiness, as we talked about earlier.
He knows how to do it.
Yeah. This is more of a Nebraska one, and I think this would honestly go neck and neck.
Yeah.
Sam Hoiberg or Dylan Raiola?
Sam Hoiberg. Give me Sam Hoiberg, bro. 1,000%.
I would agree with you too.
That dude's quick, bro. Have you ever seen him run? I mean, that dude is like quick from like end to end in the baseline, bro. He's got moves.
Prime Michael Jordan or prime LeBron James?
I gotta go prime Jordan, bro. I'm sorry. You can call me Unk for this, but that dude Jordan, I mean, he revolutionized the game. And like a bunch of like the LeBron Glazers out there are gonna say like, yo, like LeBron broke all his records. He played for like 7 more years, bro. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Seriously, you give Jordan the same nutrition, the same food, or the same nutrition, the same training, the same shoes that are available to us nowadays. Jordan's doubling that. That's just what I think.
Tyreek Hill or Noah Lyles?
Oh, Noah Lyles, bro. I'm sorry. Noah's got that all day.
Because have you seen on Twitter how like they go back and forth?
I saw what he did. He crossed the line the other day, Noah Lyles, and then he put over his face that little card and said Tyreek Hill can never. Maybe prime Tyreek has a better chance, but I mean, dude, track speed and football speed are 2 different things.
Ronaldo or Messi?
I gotta go Messi, man. I know. I'm sorry to all the speed lovers out there and things like that, but I mean, that dude Messi, bro. That dude's generational.
Are you talking about soccer and would win in a 100-meter dash?
Oh, dang, yeah. I kind of was biased on that when it came to soccer. Okay, 100-meter dash Ronaldo. 100-meter dash Ronaldo.
And would you say the same thing with Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan would still beat LeBron in a 100-meter dash? Because that's what this is about.
Oh, yeah, no, I completely went off topic with this thing.
No, you're good.
In that case, no, definitely LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah, LeBron would kill Jordan in that matter. 100-meter dash, heck yeah. I do LeBron, yeah.
All right. In a 100-meter dash, the last one, I Show Speed or Niko Schultz?
Oh, and 100?
In a 100-meter.
Oh, dang. That would be close. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Because I feel like I could definitely get like a 10.7. I was like, yeah, you gotta give me that, bro. I mean, listen, speed's good and all, and like, yeah, he stuck close to Noah in that one race, but I still think I got speed on that, to be honest with you. Like, bro trains, but like, I definitely got speed. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I definitely got speed.
Do you think you'd beat Speed in a 200-meter dash as well?
Oh yeah, I think the farther it gets, the higher it goes. Like the chances of me winning. But
Okay. How about in Illinois? At least there was an indoor 55-meter dash.
oh god.
What about that? How about that?
Oh, speed's got me. Speed's got me 1,000%.
You don't think
Speed's got me?
You don't think your expertise in a good block start would help you?
It'd be so close.
Because I don't even know if Speed used a block start against Noah Lyles.
Yeah, that was just clickbait. I mean, it was just genuinely just them messing around.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, Speed probably got me on that one. You give him a good block start, he's probably got me. But in 100, I don't think he has me.
So we're heading towards the end of this podcast, and I kind of want to end off with just asking, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. I'll be 32. Genuinely, like in 10 years, man, I'm hoping that either I'm finished with my track career or nearing the end of it. Hopefully, like a long and successful career and like a bunch of great things I've accomplished along the way. Hoping by then, like I'm just like pretty like well off and established financially. Like I've done all the right things. I've made all the right decisions. I've made sure my thoughts haven't, wandered too far and that I've stayed the path. I'm definitely hoping to be like very, very like well, like put like not even just like a place like well off financially, just like a place like well off just like spiritually and mentally, making sure that at the end of the day, whatever it is that I am doing, that I'm happy with it, and like I'm still surrounded by like the right people. Like as I mentioned before, like family was a really big part to that, and being surrounded by people who are very supportive and actually caring about me on a deeper level, like that genuinely is like the goal. But as long as like I'm in a position to be helping other people and I'm in a position to be successful and like make positive change in the world, I'll be happy. So anything close to along the lines of what I just mentioned and being surrounded by in that area, like I think I'll be doing things the right way. So yeah.
I definitely did not want to leave this part out, so
Oh, snap.
kind of want to go back to the track thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to read off your PRs, and I want you to accurately tell me if I'm correct or not. So
Yeah.
during my research, your PR for the 400 meter is 47.91.
Mm-hmm.
600 meter currently is 1 minute, 17 seconds, and 72 milliseconds.
Yeah, actually that one I ran like 116.9 in the time trial, but it's not on my T-first. But yeah, that's what I got so far.
800 meter is a minute, 47.40 seconds.
I think it's like a minute, like 0.40 or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but somewhere around there. Yeah, I think it's like 40.
And then your 1,000 meter dash is 2 minutes, 28 seconds, and 4 milliseconds.
Yeah, my PR for that was actually like 2:25. I also ran in the time trial, but it wouldn't be online. So yeah, that was like to that race I was telling you about that I ran terrible at. Yeah, it's that time right there. That time's terrible.
Was that the only time you ran it?
In an actual race, yeah. Like to put it in perspective, like I should have ran like 2:22, 2:21. So I was like off. I was like down like 7 seconds there. So yeah, I ran that race terribly.
And for context, for those listening, a 100 meter dash is around the track twice, and then and then an extra 200 meters. So another curve, and then another straightaway, and then you're done.
That 1,000, man, there's no joke around it. It's a hard race, but it's close to an 800. Like I should have done way better. So yeah.
What do you think is like the hardest race to run ever?
400 hurdles.
I was gonna say, well, in high school it's 300 hurdles, but for an extra 100 meters would be.
It's so tough running those 400 hurdles, man. Like, there's no way around it. That race is ridiculously tough. Like, you gotta have a great amount of speed, endurance, technique. There's so many moving parts in that race, but like that's why you gotta give so much credit to Sydney McLaughlin. I mean, that girl is a machine when it comes to that event. Like, she's won it so many times. Like the gold medal, broke the world record year in, year out. Like all the success she has, like she's definitely earned it. Like she's a beast.
You just reminded me, someone from Nebraska in the 100 hurdles won nationals, right?
Darius Love, man, Darius Love.
Can you share a little bit about that? What was he like on the team?
Yeah, no, that was a good dude, man. I'm really upset that he doesn't have another year of eligibility left because he was a great guy. Really, really hard worker. Somebody who was like a great guy to be around too. Not only was he good on the track, but I mean, like he was just somebody you can talk about anything with. I mean, he was a big gamer. We would talk about video games or just food or just stupid stuff. I mean, he was just a good dude at the end of the day. Like he was great at track, but he was an even better person. And he comes from a really good family too. Like his dad, real cool guy. He officiates some meets here actually too and helps out with the program. And yeah, to see him win that national meet, man, we were so happy. I mean, that like it's like a really proud moment for like all the Nebraska fans and all the people on the team to see him go out there and win it, because like that's been something he's been chasing ever since he's been here. Like a really cool fact about him, he has like every single record from like ages like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and obviously like the University of Nebraska, he has his high school record. He almost has the NCAA record for the hurdles. Like he's from Lincoln, and so to see him come up like that, I mean, that's a really cool full circle moment.
I just want to bring up, you placed, or your relay team placed 4th in conference.
Yeah, we did.
Can you kind of share a little bit about that? Because I think you don't get to bring a Big Ten medal home every day.
Yeah, no. So actually, we brought home a medal when we placed 2nd, like 2 or 3 years ago, I think. And so we placed 2nd, we got that medal, and that was a really cool feeling too, because this is gonna be funny. So we placed actually 3rd in that race, but Ohio State got DQ'd because they ran into one of our guys. And so we got 2nd instead of 3rd. And so that was really cool. And then fast forward to last track season at regionals, we run 3:05 and we qualify for nationals. But my anchor leg, Nick, stepped on the line before I handed him off the baton and then got us disqualified. And so we were going to go to nationals and have a chance to bring home one of those beautiful plaques that you win at nationals for top 8. And then we didn't even get a chance to do that because he got us disqualified by stepping on that line, which sucks because we made it, we ran the time, we beat the people that we needed to beat. But that small technicality ended up catching up with us, and then, we got DQ'd. So
how do you handle an event like that with all that emotion going on?
I don't know, dude. You're in a different like mind space. Like you have your consciousness before you run, and then your consciousness after, like while you're running, and like after you run. Right? There's like 3 different like sectors, and like you are so nervous before running, and you're like actually taking the baton and running and going, and like, you know, being side by side with somebody and moving your arms and breathing and stepping, and then as soon as like you hand it off, like it's all over. Like as soon as you step on that track and you're running, you're in the moment, like you're not even thinking about anything, you're not nervous, you're just out there doing it, and then you finish it, and it's like, oh, that's it. Like, what did I have to be so afraid of? But I mean, it's just those nerves and those butterflies that you have beforehand. It's like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? It's that feeling of uncertainty. Like humans hate uncertainty. Like we like really fear what we don't understand, and so like that's what makes us run so good though. It's like that fear, that like nervousness, like that like gives us so much adrenaline to push us to that next level, and then you go out and do it, and then at the end of the day, it's just another race. So
as of this recording, you guys are officially done with indoor track, right?
Almost. Well, we got the Big Ten Championship coming up this Saturday and Friday, so we got like the last big home meet or big track meet indoor, and then if you make nationals, there's another one, and then indoor's done.
How are you guys feeling about that?
Feeling good, man. There's so many good guys in the 8 this year. I'm just trying to focus on what I can control, which is just how I perform in the 800. And I'm facing so many good athletes out there, and I'm really excited to go and face off with the best of them. And I think that I belong in that top 16. And so I'm going to do my best to try to put myself in a position to be successful, making sure I make all the right moves this week and making sure that I'm just mentally prepared for what's to go down on that track Friday and Saturday. So.
And then outdoor track is obviously right after that.
Right.
How's it? Is that, do you prefer outdoor or do you prefer indoor?
I prefer outdoor, but I'm probably better at indoor. I don't know what it's been. I've always been better at indoor, but I really want to change that narrative and try to be better outdoor. I mean, indoor is really cool and all, and like I've had a lot of success indoor. I mean, the reason I'm at Nebraska is because of an indoor race. But I mean, I want to end my career with a bang and like be successful when it matters, which is on that outdoor track and nationals. That's what I want to do.
You looking forward to outdoor?
Heck yeah. I think that I can do a lot of great things on that outdoor track. I think that I can definitely elevate myself to a completely new level in the 800 on that outdoor track. And all the greatest have done it outdoors. Indoor is cool and all, but everybody knows that the real track and field takes place outdoor, not indoor.
What are you looking forward to content creation-wise?
Content creation-wise, man, I set some pretty lofty goals this year to try to hit 50,000 on my Instagram and then my YouTube and my TikTok, obviously. And I'm getting there slowly but surely. I think 11,000 on Instagram right now, 8,000 on YouTube, and then TikTok's like 7,000. So I'm just looking to take things to a new level. And I know that as I get faster, my content's going to get better, and that I'm going to be able to handle things better, and that I'm just going to, slowly grow over time. So I'm hoping to take things to a new level, and hopefully by the time I get out of here, it's just something better than I could have ever imagined from the start. So
thank you very much for joining me on this podcast. I had a great time with you.
Dude, always,
and
man.
Everyone
always.
else, thank you guys for listening.
Oh,
I'm actually going to leave that.
Mike down.